Alright guys, it's been a little bit over a week since Disney Plus dropped, and I'm going to review some of the originals, or at least the ones that I've seen, as well as talking about if you should buy the service and if it's worth your money or if you should hold off and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to start with the originals that I have seen. I was planning to do separate videos on them, but didn't get around to it, so I decided to put it all in one video, so it'll make it a lot easier. Alright, so first up is The Mandalorian, probably the biggest selling point for Disney Plus, and probably the original that most people were looking forward to, including myself. Yeah, I really like The Mandalorian. It's not the greatest show or anything like that. It could be. It has some great potential. I think in the first two episodes that have released at the time of recording, uh, moved the story along, but the second one not as much. It's kind of just building the world up and introducing you to this side of Star Wars. And yeah, I think it has potential for being one of the great Star Wars TV shows. I think Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian does a great job. He shows emotion without actually showing his face, which is pretty tough, but I think he does pull it off. Next, a spoiler character, which I don't want to spoil. I think that will probably be a big holiday toy. A lot of people are talking about it. Chances are you do know what I'm talking about, but I'm just not gonna say it just in case. The fight scenes are pretty well choreographed. They're more real than the other like lightsaber fights and stuff like that. It's more gritty, which I do want to see how it plays out in the rest of the series. So overall, there's not too many problems with it. It's just you can tell that it's going to take time to build momentum, I guess, and it just seems like there's still a lot of stuff to unpack, even though there's only 6 episodes left in this season. So I'm going to give The Mandalorian at least the first 2 episodes an average of an 8 out of 10. Next up is Noelle. Noelle is the story of Anna Kendrick's character, Noelle Kringle, who kind of has to go search for her brother, played by Bill Hader, who is trying to take over the mantle of being Santa Claus, but he doesn't really want to, so she's gonna go find him somewhere in the world. And I don't think this is gonna be a Christmas classic or anything. Like, I think it's a good one-time thing. Like, you'll watch it once and you'll probably not go back to it, but watching it, you gonna have fun. There's some jokes that do work, especially the ones that kind of play on certain words that you associate with Christmas. I think the cast is fun enough for the runtime, but you're not gonna remember any of their performances afterwards, like more than a week. And at times, as you go towards the end, it can be a little bit predictable because that's just how Christmas movies are. So I'm gonna give Noelle like a 5.5 out of 10. Alright, next up is the other original movie, which is a live action remake of the animated classic Lady and the Tramp. Uh, Again, this is a live action Disney remake. It doesn't really change too much of the story, it just updates the visuals and shows you how it would be like if it was kind of done in like the real world. Uh, yeah, so with that, it doesn't really change much. If you haven't seen the original, like, this would probably be a fun time. For me, it was fun, but didn't offer anything like too new. Some of the iconic scenes were still fun to see, just to see how it would be done with real dogs. The dogs were pretty cute, and I think the ending kind of lost me a bit. Uh, Whereas the first two acts did capture me, while the third act I was just like, all right, let's just end it now. So yeah, I would give Lady and Tramp like a 6 out of 10. It's okay. Okay, up next, going back to the shows, is The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum, you might know as The Fly, from Independence Day, Jurassic Park, and Thor Ragnarok. He's just a very fun personality, and putting him in a show where he just goes around, travels, and takes a look at different pop culture items, I guess, which the first 2 episodes include sneakers and ice cream. Just him going around is just a fun time, and the show is more of like a travel channel show, more akin to like Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations and other shows like that. I don't think the show is anything new. It's just like any other travel show you've seen, just people going around talking about it and then talking to some of the experts in that field. So if you like shows like No Reservations or Bizarre Foods or anything like that on Travel Channel or anything on like YouTube related to traveling and vlogs, this might be for you. If you like Jeff Goldblum, obviously you would like this show too. But if you don't, if you're just going in here blind and you're just trying to watch something new and you don't like these type of shows, this is probably not for you. But for me, I do like shows like this occasionally, and I think this is a pretty good time. I would personally give it an 8 out of 10. So the last original I saw was Pixar in Real Life. Pixar in Real Life takes ideas from Pixar movies that have come out and kind of put them in the real world and see what would happen if it was real. So for the first episode, and I think this is the only episode that's out at the time of recording, is they took the control panel from Inside Out and put it in a park for people to use. And when those people interact with the board, whatever emotion they channel, there would be two actors in front of that panel, in front of that board, acting out whatever emotion they press. Personally, this show, or at least this episode, didn't really capture anything for me. It just was kind of, I don't know, just kind of felt like a throwaway. It's more of like a prank without being a prank. It's just like what would happen, like literally. It sounds good on paper, I guess, or at least for certain movies like Wall-E, which it looks like we're gonna get something for that. But for Inside Out, it's just a tad cringy, I guess. But yeah, it didn't capture my attention all the way through, but for some people it might, or at least the future episodes might capture my attention, but for this one, not particularly. So I'm gonna give Pixar Real Life 4 out of 10 for now. That may change according to what kind of Pixar movies they choose from, like when they choose like Monsters Inc. or like I said, Wall-E. So yeah. Alright, now on to the streaming service as a whole. Do I think Disney Plus is worth the purchase? For me, I think it is for the time being, but for anybody else, I think it really depends on you. I know it's not a concrete answer, but it's true. Like, you have to know what you want. If you want to buy it and like just watch a few things, I would say hold off. But if you know that you're gonna watch a bunch of your childhood favorites or any movies that you want, or rewatch any of the MCU movies or even the Star Wars movies, then maybe. But as for the originals, they're not that strong of a lineup right now, except for the Mandalorian. Uh, but the lineup is going to get stronger with the MCU shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki and stuff like that. But again, if you do want to watch some old shows like I have, I've watched like Spider-Man, the animated series, Tron Uprising, a few episodes of Phineas and Ferb, like so on, then yes, because they all are there in HD with subtitles, and it's very accessible to anyone who subscribes. So basically, bottom line is I would look through everything, the whole catalog on like online or somewhere, and see how much of that you want to watch, and then decide afterwards. But for me personally, I think I am going to continue subscribing to streaming service at least until like the MCU shows come out and see how they work out, because apparently we do have to watch those to understand future Marvel movies. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Disney Plus. Personally, I would give the streaming service as a whole, I guess, like an 8 for now. It's probably gonna go up because there's a huge library and there's just more stuff to come for the originals. I'm expecting hopefully better original movies. I'm looking forward to the new shows that's going to be added, and yeah, and National Geographic is also included for those who are wondering. That side is it's a lot of documentaries and TV shows if you're interested, and that's about it. I do talk about The Mandalorian a little bit more on my podcast with my friend, the Dropouts podcast. I'm gonna leave a link to that down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next review or whatever video I'm gonna be doing. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.